Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy, and my guest today is George Mazzella of GreenFi. He is the head of marketing. So we were talking a few weeks ago with Maya Lilly, who suggested one of the things that we can do to as something that we can do for that's good for the earth is to know where our money is being held. And so George is representing GreenFi, which is green banking. So George, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Amy. I'm very happy to be here.
So tell us what exactly green banking is, and what exactly is green banking?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. Well, green banking as a term can mean many things, right? And I feel like it's been one of those things that it started out as green loans, green bonds, an investment vehicle to deploy capital. And it's evolved to kind of encompass anything around financial services products that do no harm to the environment, or even better, champion positive impact to the environment around us.
Right. And that is that's a super easy thing on our end. You just find the right institution and put your money there. And so it's like, I think it was even just you said it says everyday spending can fund environmental solutions. So that's super cool. Like all you got to do is live your life and you're making a difference.
Exactly, and that was done intentionally, right? And I've built many products of this, like sustainable products, impact products, more than 24 to date. And what I've really learned, Amy, is that when you try to over-engineer a product or a process, you create a barrier of entry, right? It can be cost, it can be difficulty of doing something, right? An inconvenience. And these things, no matter how much people care, if they're inconvenient enough, you see an initial spike and then a quick drop off in engagement.
Right.
And for these projects, for these products, whatever you're building or developing, for it to actually have lasting impact on the environment, it needs to be the default. And at GreenFi, you mentioned that everyday spending, that our tree planting program, every time you swipe your card, you buy your coffee, you pay for groceries, trees get funded. Right? All around the world, different types of trees, mangroves, you name it. And we're expanding that program every day. And in fact, last year alone, our members contributed to over 3.5 million trees. Right? That's one tree every 8.5 seconds that our members planted
awesome.
last year. And
that's awesome.
Thank you. You see these little behaviors can have huge impact. And that's what we love. That's what we're building.
Yeah. And so how many dollars equals one tree? Is that like per purchase, or is it per, like, I'm just thinking of like a punch card, which is
it's a round up to the nearest dollar. And so it's not a fixed amount or a one tree per transaction. You round up your transaction, that money goes into a fund, and then the price of trees varies depending on the geographical or the specific types of trees that are being planted. But we work with a number of partners to run those programs globally.
Okay. And you said worldwide.
That's right. Yes.
That's amazing. Like you're planting trees worldwide. That's incredible. And so I guess, obviously that's going to affect the type of tree that is planted, and, I would guess seasonally,
yes.
Things are more expensive or less expensive or easier to do. That's really cool though. Is there like how do you know where to put them, I guess?
Well, luckily we have really good partners that they do this day in, day out.
You're just here's our money, fix it, right?
Yes and no. I mean, there's a bit of a guidance and a desire of where we want. I mean, ultimately we are selecting projects that we believe have the biggest potential for impact, right? Not just planting the tree, right? There's the environmental impact, but then there's also the local social impact, right? How do these projects affect the local communities? Do they create jobs? Do they create opportunities for women, right? Do they equal opportunities across all of these things? All of these are, if you look at the UN SDG goals, we're looking at all of these things as we select our tree planting partners, and that we make sure that these projects are delivering the highest values, make sure that our customers' money is going exactly where they want it to.
Okay. USDGC, US dollar green
The UN SDG goals. So yeah, those are the UN SDG goals.
SDG. Okay. Okay, UN. Okay, can you tell me what it all stands for now?
Yep, so the UN SDG goals are, eventually I'm going to trip over that if I keep saying it. They're effectively...
That's my plan.
They're effectively a categorization of different types of benefits, right? So I believe there's 17 or so, I might be mistaken on the total amount, but it basically categorizes projects based on which angle of ESG or social good they deliver. So this can be positive for the oceans, positive for land, positive, and so on. And so all of these they're kind of a guidelines of how to find a good project if you're looking at a sustainable project.
Okay. So I was just gonna, is it mainly trees that you're planting, or are there other, I think that was sort of leading into that. Are there other, okay. All right. And I know that I had a conversation with Josh Harrison a bit ago about greening cities. So, I would think that might go into like the social part of, where it's heavily warmer, I think, because if we're at growing trees in cities where there's a lot of pavement or it's really sunny and it needs trees, like it'll cool things down so that it's more livable. Is that part of the plan as well, or is it more just like just taking up space in? I know you said that there are lots of there are lots of different places and different projects, and there's teamwork in making the plan for where those go.
Yes, so our partners do a lot of that vetting now. I would love to be able to deliver that. I can name probably 10 places in Manhattan where I spent most of my life that could use some more trees, especially downtown. But for these projects, they are very large scale, right, and require a significant amount of land and resources and open land to be able to do this. So I don't want to say that there won't be a day where we are making green cities. I would love to deliver that. But for now, we're focused on areas. One of them is in Tanzania, another is in Senegal. We are looking at some potential US-based projects as well to consider. But they do require a significant amount of land. So if you think about, the trees, the number I gave last year was about just over 3.5 million. That requires 1.6 square miles of land, and that's like roughly 20% larger than Central Park.
Okay. Yeah, Josh is actually in New York City, but I think that's also really important. The Tanzania and Senegal, like if those are super warm places, then you plant the trees, which will add some shade, and they can grow more. They can grow more food, and it's more livable. Absolutely. And cleans the air too, right?
Yes, it does. Pulls carbon out of the environment, pulls it into the soil where it belongs, right? And then when that soil has more carbon, you're then improving the quality of the soil that can then be used for things like, agriculture, right? Like we have a huge problem, especially in the US, where we've degraded our topsoil. And doing things like this, pulling carbon from the air back into soil, is a great way to recreate that healthy, like gut biome of the soil, if you would, that allows food to grow that's more nutritionally dense and healthier for you and for the planet.
Right. Yeah, all of those things. All right, so you're the head of marketing, but did you and Tim work together on this? Like when did GreenFi start? When did you guys?
Yeah, so GreenFi started about a year and a half ago. So no, I had worked with Tim previously at a company about 3.5 years ago. But I got a call from him about 3 or 4 months ago to come in and help the team and help scale the marketing org. And so it's been a lot of fun. It pulled me out of carbon project development, which is where I had spent the past 3+ years prior to rejoining Tim, was around developing these projects specifically across regenerative agriculture. Was a huge piece that I focused on in creating regenerative products. So, things like if you've seen King Arthur's regenerative flour, I didn't create that product, but similar products to that.
Gotcha. Wow. And so you're relatively new to GreenFi. GreenFi is relatively new itself. But so you have a lot of experience to I mean, you're not talking out of your face. You actually understand this stuff because you've been in that field. So working in regenerative agriculture. And what was that carbon that you were doing before?
So carbon project development. So, that's developing regenerative agriculture projects, reforestation projects. So similar to how we work with tree planting partners, I worked on that side of the house. So the people on the ground actually developing the projects.
Okay. It's fascinating. And so, I mean, you and Tim had worked together, you said, and so he knows who you are and what you've been up to. And so you guys, it seems like a really good pairing. If you're going to do good things. And the tree planting was from the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Not something that you added when you came on. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's always been an important piece of the business, right? And I think where, someone with my background comes in, and I know what these projects look like at scale, and I know how to do it with not only with credibility, right? Because that's important, but also how to communicate it. Because the problem when you work in this space, even the concept of green banking, right? It's not something we hear every day. Mm-hmm. And it kind of sounds alien to us, right? Where you're like, wait, green banking, what? Are you talking about money?
Right. Yeah, right? Exactly.
So you have to figure out ways to communicate this in a way that people are going to immediately understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're taking the risk on saying, well, will this person go research what I'm talking about? Right? And there are industries that love doing this. They love using buzzwords and things that no one understands, yet they're basic ideas, but we dress them up with really complicated buzzwords that no one understands, and that makes us feel smart, I guess. But that's not really what we're doing here, right? Like, the idea is to make this understandable, transparent, and approachable for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. If you are banking with a bank, you should know where your money is, what it's supporting, and how you can access it when you need to, right? There shouldn't be hoops for you to jump through, and you shouldn't be forced to give up your values just to have a bank account.
Right. Oh, I agree with that 100%. And so how many green banks are there, George? Do you know? I've only heard of, now you and Walden Bank are the only two really that I am familiar with.
So there are a few out there. There's a handful. I'd say the majority tend to be either micro-regional or credit union based. To my knowledge, we are the only national digital green bank, right? A digital based bank. So that's one unique value add that we bring to the market and a little bit of a differentiator. But I think contrary to what many people would say, like, oh, I want to be the outlier, I don't want to be. I wish there were more green banks. I wish there were dozens and we were competing, and because that's when you know that the industry is changing. Yeah. Right? This goes from being a novel idea or an edge case business to just banking. That would be like a professional dream come true if I woke up one day and people were just like, yeah, that's banking.
Right. That whole, do we have to call an organic carrot an organic carrot? Can't we just call it a carrot and call it chemical carrots? Yeah.
Exactly.
Can we just call green banking banking and just have it, be understood? It's a really weird time when everything has to be so specific, but it's really important for us to know where our money is, as we learned with Maya, and to feel good about that. Yes. Now I'm like, every purchase I make is that, am I doing something good? Am I doing something bad? Like, I'm supporting a small business, but are they funded? Are the whole the monopolies of businesses? Am I supporting good or am I supporting bad? And I'm trying so hard, but so knowing that your money is at least with the bulk of your money is being held somewhere safe and that's doing good.
Absolutely.
How does it work though? Like, it's by spending, not like how much you have in the bank, right?
Well, it's all the above, right? And so as far as where our impact is, so the initial climate impact you make is where you hold your savings, right? Your deposits. Those deposits, I'm sure, as your previous guest went into, Maya, I'm sure she went into, banks use these deposits to finance fossil fuel exploration, a number of things that are bad for the environment. And for most people, right, with a certain balance, your bank account probably has a larger carbon footprint than your car. And that's a terrifying statistic to think about, because you can be doing everything right.
Exactly.
You could be recycling, solar panels, composting, carpooling, riding a bike to work, right? And yet, where you keep your emergency fund might be undoing all of that good. And most people have no idea.
Yeah.
And so the first impact we make is, one, our partner banks in our program, right? We work with a number of banks. That's how we're able to offer FDIC insurance up to $1 million, is you spread it out across multiple banks to keep it safe and diversify. And so they, when they sign on to be our partner banks, they make a commitment that none of these funds will ever touch the fossil fuel industry. They have to sign and agree to those terms. We've never had a violation of that.
Wow.
So that is the first way. So by moving your money over and keeping it in a GreenFi savings account or spend account, you're immediately reducing your carbon footprint, or avoiding carbon emissions, if you would. From
That's
there,
amazing.
then, the other thing is the more active as your lifestyle, right? We talked about the tree planting. We offer a program called Planet Protection that offsets the emissions of fuel purchases. So if you go fill up your car and maybe you can't afford an EV, maybe you still drive a gas car. The majority of the world, the US still has gas cars, right? And we don't have the infrastructure for EVs. And so you still have to fill up your car with gas. Well, at least now you can purchase carbon offsets to mitigate the damage and the harm that you're doing. And then the third piece of that is around spending, around green brands. And so we have our green marketplace, where there's over 300 brands that we have assessed across various sustainability metrics, and we offer up to 6% cash back to our customers to shop at these brands. And so the idea there is, can we reward and pull consumer dollars away from companies who are not doing their part and reward the companies who are? And so last year alone, we pulled almost $2 million for our green marketplace brands. That's how much our customers spent.
That's so cool. That's really cool. What are there other? I'm just trying to make sure that we're as educated on this as possible. Like, are there other? Is it? I'm not going to say just a bank. I want to say just a bank, but like, are there other things that you guys do? So now I'm thinking personally, because I know that my money, my retirement is in a bad bank. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of it, but the fees are so high. But is that something that you guys do, or one of your partner banks?
So we do offer investment solutions as well. Today we have one fund that people can invest in. It's called the Redwood Fund. And so that effectively tracks a number of public companies that are advancing on their climate commitments. So again, like that investment thesis of, if you were to look at the S&P 500 green, it's a handful of companies within that sector that are positioned for growth. We are looking at the potential of expanding that just from sheer demand, right? We've gotten so much demand for green investments that now we're like, all right, we need to find more ETFs, more funds, and diversify this for customers. So it's a little bit of a spoiler of later this year, but that's something we're scoping out now, and I hope we can bring it to the market.
That's really cool. Are there other perks to banking with GreenFi? I mean, other than helping save the earth and, putting your money where, I'm just trying to think if there
that's not important.
Is there anything that we're not talking about that maybe we should, that would tip people over to, like, oh wait, that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see. I'll rattle them off.
Okay.
We have access to over 55,000 fee-free ATMs, many of which are in your local, like Walgreens or CVS. You'll see them. We have a place in our app where you can quickly type in your zip code and you'll get recommendation of the closest place. Very rarely is there not one within 15 minutes. That's about average of what we've seen.
That's amazing.
We have the opportunity to get paid 2 days early when you set up direct deposit. So that's another big one that people love.
Is that the digital benefit? Is that, like you were saying, is that what you said? Your digital bank?
As a digital bank? Well, the digital bank is just we're a mobile first friendly bank, right? So it means we have a great mobile app. It means we have customer service that quickly replies online via text or call in. We don't have physical branches that people can go to.
Right.
I don't know the last time I've been to a physical branch anyway.
My cat just crossed the screen if you guys are just listening. It's dinner time. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, so we talked about fee-free ATMs and what? Oh my gosh, you were just talking.
And early direct deposit.
Early direct deposit. That's right. Okay. Any other perks?
Yeah, well, let's see. Big one is our GreenFi Plus subscription. So when customer signs up for GreenFi Plus, they can earn an APY of up to 3.25%, which is more than 10 times the national average.
What is
so it's competitive APY, fossil fuel free. That's the big thing, right? And at this point, if I didn't convince someone to open an account, then either I need to work on my pitch or we need to think of some other offerings. But I think, and maybe I'm biased, it's a very compelling offering that we have. And, again, be no fee program. So it's the pay what is fair. And so customers who sign up to a standard account can set their monthly fees. It can be as low as $0.
Wow, that's amazing. I just want to make sure I'm educating people.
No,
you're educating
that.
people, and I'm asking the right questions to get you to educate us. But that's really great. I mean, I love that. I love free ATMs. I don't know, like my credit union will reimburse me when I have to pay a fee, but it's just annoying to say, yeah, I'll pay an extra $4.50. And then early direct deposit, is that a thing?
Yeah, I wish we were the only ones offering it. There are a number of institutions, but it's one of those things that it's a nice to have, and our customers really appreciate it.
I had no idea that was a thing. Goodness.
Yeah.
And fossil fuel free. That can never be bad.
It's the big one.
All right. And so I know you know Tim well. Tim is the CEO, founder. Why he decided to start a green bank?
Yeah, well, for him, he's been involved in and around this space, the green transition, for more than a decade, maybe even longer than that. And, when he started this, the idea was, how can you, he always talks about when you want to create maximum impact, right, you have to look upstream. And when you look upstream of this issue of climate, at least in the US, it all starts with money. Money is what finances the bad things. It's what finances the solutions too.
Right.
And it was also a way to empower consumers, right? There's this thing that people have probably heard at this point, the eco-conscious consumer. It started out as a rumor to a myth to a trend to it is a movement. And it's happening. And companies who don't pay attention will suffer the consequences on their balance sheets, right? People are finally starting to see that their money has probably more power than their vote. And they're starting to use that. And that's the thing that, addicted Tim to this problem. It's what addicted me to this problem.
Right.
Is that this is a solution that can scale and give people a way to see a tangible benefit, right? Because I think the thing that frustrates everyone is, well, I've been recycling and composting, but nothing's different.
Right.
Well, it's not that nothing's different. It's just that you're one person doing that, right? If suddenly all 300 plus million people in the U.S. started doing that, we'd see some big impact. But changing money further upstream, that's when you can see the trickle-down effects much more clearly.
Right. Well, and I didn't know, I did not know myself that you were saying that where we put our money it can be offsetting all the good that we're doing. Not offset, but it has a really big impact. And how does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's a calculation based on the amount of money you have at a bank, and then you tie that into the emissions that are generated based on financing activities. So there are a number of resources people can use out there. You can do a quick Google search of, big banks lending to fossil fuels, and there's tons of resources out there that you can use to calculate that. And then what you'll see is that depending on, and we also have a tool on our website. It's a little simple tool you can use where you can put in an illustrative amount of money, and we'll tell you how many carbon emissions it would avoid to put that money in GreenFi.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And what is involved? That just blew my mind. When you said that way back, but way back. But I was like, it's money. Like what? But yeah, that just makes a lot of sense. What is involved in creating a green bank?
Yeah. Well, in terms of functionality, it's really not all that different from any other bank, right? It's incredibly complex to make a bank.
You just have to have super high morals.
Right. It's just we made the decision up front that despite profits, we will not sacrifice morals.
That's really awesome. I can't wait to share that part.
And the joy is you can still be a for-profit company and do good, right? You can do well and do good. Actually, I think that's our tagline. So that was kind of an unintended pun there.
Good job.
Yeah, there you go. I must do this for a living or something. Kidding aside, that is really what we want to prove, and it's what I want to prove. Because to my earlier point, Amy, it's what I believe is the only way this stuff will work. We are I've always believed human beings will inherently pick the easiest path. It's called survival instincts. And we have to make this the easiest path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it feels almost like we're able to multitask, like do more if things are easier, like we can stack them.
Yes.
And so that's really helpful because, I've said this too many times on the podcast, but like with all the conveniences we have, like, why are we so dang busy and so exhausted all the time?
Because it's a never-ending to-do list.
Yeah.
And I always joke with my wife that, when the to-do list ends, so does your life. Right? So I'm happy for a long to-do list. It reminds me that I'm alive. But at the same time, to your point, it can be really difficult to prioritize these things, right? Because if you have to go out of your way, you're like, well, and I have 3 kids. So you're like, well, I got to take this one to soccer practice. This one's going to the doctor. That one's staying home from school. And when am I supposed to do all this stuff? Mm-hmm. And when we build this product, when we launch new features, that's the exercise we go through, right? It's a simple decision tree of, is this a default behavior or not? If it's not,
right,
can't do it. It's not going to work.
It's a no-brainer. Like it takes 0 effort. You just say, here's my money, and then you're like doing good things and nothing is changing on your end.
Exactly.
Except that on the other end, it's making a big difference.
Yeah. You don't even know what's happening until you get that push notification of, boom, you've just planted a tree here, and this is your total trees, right? You shouldn't be burdened with the logistics of how it happens. You should just be able to get the reward of the good thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's such a cool thing. And it's so you get a notification like you just planted a tree.
Absolutely. We have an impact dashboard that you log in and you can track your cumulative impact over time, the number of trees that you've contributed, where those trees are, the amount of carbon that you've avoided. We give some comparisons around like vehicles off the road and some equivalencies so people, because these things like carbon, what is carbon? I don't know. It's on the periodic table of elements, but I couldn't point it out to you in a room, right? We don't see it.
Right.
And so you have to give people these equivalencies so they understand like what it actually means.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. That's really fun. I know a lot of people that they love to like gamify things, and I'm not that person, but I do love like my Buzzsprout, my podcast host, whenever you hit like a milestone, you get an email and they're like, you just made, like 10,000 downloads, and it's like the party, like confetti and everything, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that, you're just like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Look at me go. And doing something like that with where you're putting your money, it's just like, you don't think about it. And then they're like, and then you get the notification like, oh my gosh, look at all the good I'm doing. And I didn't even realize it.
Absolutely. And we do that gamification, right? Because it should be fun and it's a way to keep people engaged. We do monthly sweepstakes for our tree planting, right? Where you can be entered in to win various prizes, sometimes cash prizes that we offer just by, again, using your card. But it makes it fun, right? It almost creates this, I want people to, if I ever get to walk into a bar and see 2 people arguing over who's planted more trees on a GreenFi app, that would be amazing. Like that'd
be like the end of the to-do list.
Yes, that's at the very end of the to-do list. That's how I know we've made it.
That would be, I would love to be in that room. That would be, you're like, are you serious? Am I really hearing this?
Exactly. But I'm a big believer in the universe and manifestation. So now that I've said it, I know it's going to happen.
It's out loud, you guys. We're gonna make that happen. If you're ever in a bar, just in case George is there, just talk about how many trees you planted.
Exactly.
Just by holding your money in a green bank. Please do that. That would be so fun. Especially if you're in the New Jersey, New York area, because that's where he probably will be. Just in case. You never know. So one of the things that I got from your guest form, George, I just quoted, it says, your money is shaping the world whether you realize it or not. And so that is I think that's the point that you're making. If your money is in, a regular bank, then, you don't know what's happening. If it's with a green bank, what's happening because you're making a point to let people know, but you don't think about it until you hear about it.
Yep. It's very black or white, right? And it's one of those things where your money is either funding the problem or it's financing the solution. And that's what we want to be for people. We want to be the solution. But ultimately, it's your money and your move, right? That's what we, it's a little fun thing that I've been testing out in the market.
Yeah. My goodness. I'm just writing this down. I don't have shorthand. I can't read it.
I practice chicken scratch myself, so I get it.
I'm big on, I can't read what I wrote. I'm writing fast, holding things up and writing fast. And then I'm like, I'm going to guess at that. But this is so exciting. I love the idea of just putting your money somewhere and feeling good about that. And then also just going about life, not thinking about anything until you get that notification. Look at all the good you're doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's I don't know, just makes your day.
I'm happy to hear that.
So this is just super interesting. I'm so glad to get to talk to you, George. Because this is something that's been on my mind since, even before talking to Maya, but I was in a meeting and someone had mentioned where is your money being, who's managing your money? You want to make sure that they represent you and are not you're not funding something that you don't believe in. And so this has been on my mind. So I'm so grateful to get some deets on this. And you guys, I definitely want you to check out GreenFi. George, how can we find GreenFi?
Absolutely. Easiest way is to go to greenfi.com.
.com. Okay. And it's so GreenFi, F like Frank. Okay. And you said you have an app as well.
Yes. Or they can download our mobile app on the Google Play Store or Apple Store.
Very cool. And starting an account is relatively easy?
Absolutely. 3 minutes or less. That's my personal guarantee.
Oh my gosh. If it doesn't, you reach out to George on LinkedIn.
Yes, please do.
Oh my gosh. George, what does the word sustainability mean to you?
It's funny. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question before, and I've been in this industry for about a decade already. Let's see. I think to me, sustainability is about creating a two-sided relationship with the earth around us. So much of what we do is one-sided, right? Historically, we take from the earth. We benefit ourselves in spite of the earth. But sustainability, or at least the way I want to imagine it, is about doing so in a way that is either restoring and rebalancing what we're taking or minimize what we're taking in a way that it causes no harm.
Yeah, so reciprocal-ish.
Exactly. Taking care of the land, right? We're all stewards of the land for the next generation to take over. And that's never more apparent than when you have children and you see them grow up, right? It's ultimately I don't know if I'm going to succeed or if our generation is going to succeed in solving this climate crisis, right? I don't know. I hope so. But if not, at the end of the day, as long as I can leave it a little bit closer to the solution,
Right.
then I can rest easy knowing that the next generation will solve it for me.
Right. We just do the best that we can and hope that everyone else is doing the same.
Exactly.
And yeah. Oh man, I love that. I have had a few guests that were like, yeah, sustainability is not good enough. Like I don't want things to be to stay the same, which same.
We have to
But
change, but
you just never know what you're going to get for an answer. And that was a really good one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Anyway, and so greenfi.com, you guys, can I say look George up on LinkedIn if you are on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
George Mazzella, Mazzella.
Double Z,
And-
double L.
Oh, two Z's. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Chicken scratch. They blended together. So two Z's, two L's.
Yeah, you can reach out to George Mazzella with one Z, but he's not going to know what the hell you're talking
He
about.
doesn't know what you're talking about. GreenFi, what? And that might be a great opportunity to inform someone else. But George, thank you so much. This has been fascinating, and just I'm so encouraged by all of the good that you guys are doing. I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you, Amy. And thank you for having
Is there
me.
anything that we didn't touch on that you really wanted to like?
I think we covered it all.
Okay. All right. I'm so looking into GreenFi.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Yeah, this weekend. That's my plan. Great. GreenFi.com, y'all, and George Mazzella. Thank you so much, George.
Thank you, Amy.